It's about that time, guys. It's time to give my full Marvel ranking for all 21 MCU films. Get ready. Howdy, partners. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tommyrot. Today is the day we are ranking the MCU films, all 21 that have been released up to this point, so not including Endgame. But I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I recently just got to rewatch all the movies, so I'm really primed and ready to go. So without further ado, strap in, buckle up, and let's get this countdown going. Now, I do want to preface by saying I don't think any of these movies are bad. This is just a ranking based on my preferences and what I think is my favorite and I think is the best, so take it with a grain of salt. If you disagree, you're wrong, but whatever. And starting with number 21, we are going with The Incredible Hulk. Yes, the Edward Norton version of the Hulk. I don't think this is a bad movie again. I just don't think that this movie really fits with any of the rest of the MCU, and for that, it just falls short. I do think Edward Norton gave a great performance. The villain was kind of lacking. The Hulk did look badass, but it's my least favorite. Alright, and we're going straight to number 20, Thor: The Dark World. This is pretty much everybody's least favorite Marvel movie, and for me it really just comes down to tone. The whole movie was just kind of too dark. I know it's called The Dark World, but just too dark. It was super Shakespearean and just weird and kind of forced, and it by far has the worst villain in the MCU, Malekith. Super forgettable. The whole movie is just kind of forgettable, so I have it at number 20. Number 19 may ruffle some feathers, but it's Avengers: Age of Ultron. This is the second time that we see the Avengers team up, and I think it just fell short for me. The first time in the original Avengers was so epic and it just worked so well. This time around, it just felt like flat. It just felt like it wasn't achieving what the first Avengers achieved. But I will say the 360 shot at the end of all the Avengers fighting all the Ultron bots, that shit was pretty tight and one of the most epic shots in the MCU, so I will say that was a pretty cool shot and not the best movie. We're going straight through number 18, Iron Man 2. Now, I love Iron Man. He's one of my favorite characters. This movie was just a bit too overstuffed. We were dealing with Justin Hammer, we were dealing with Ivan Vanko, we were dealing with Black Widow, we were dealing with Nick Fury trying to recruit him for the Avengers. It just was really overstuffed. And within all that, he created a new element and like made a new arc reactor. It was like, okay, all right, I like it, but really overstuffed. It's gonna fall towards the bottom of my list. Number 18, Iron Man 2. And number 17, we're taking it back to the original Thor. This was one of the first MCU movies that I actually went to the theater to see, and I really enjoyed it. I saw it with a couple of my friends, and I was like, whoa, these are gonna be different movies. Like, they're gonna go to space. They're gonna have gods in it, and like, I really think the only place where it fell flat for me was the parts on Earth in New Mexico and stuff. Like all the Asgard scenes and him fighting on the Rainbow Bridge, that was tight. That was really well executed. But it's gonna stay at number 17 for me. Number 16 was kind of a difficult choice for me, but it is Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. Now, I absolutely adore the Guardians. The first one was one of the best films of the MCU. I absolutely adore it. This one was just kind of a rehashing of the first, and it was just a little bit too wild for me. And I just, you know, I keep saying that things fell flat, but this really did. It just didn't have the same effect on me that the first Guardians had. But the death of Yondu, that shit was really, really sad. That really tore me up when I was watching it in the theater, and the soundtrack that's happening in that was like really, really sad. So I do think the emotions were there. It just didn't have the same impact as the first Guardians. All right, we're moving through on to number 15, Doctor Strange. Now, all these movies are really great, but this one just kind of felt boring. It was kind of just a rehash of Iron Man 1, but with a guy who has magic powers. Just an arrogant guy who gets humbled and then he ends up saving the world. But it did have like a lacking villain, Caecilius, like I can barely remember him, and Dormammu's portrayal was cool, but not exactly what I was expecting to see, but I did enjoy the movie. And number 14, Captain America: The First Avenger. This movie used to be towards the bottom of my list, but it's kind of grown on me since I've watched it over and over again. I just really like the feel that they get and the period that they capture. With it being set in the 1940s, we do get that introduction to Cap, and we understand why he is the way he is in the movies that follow. So I really think it set up the character of Captain America very well. And we're coming in hot, number 13, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, this one I literally just rewatched, and it shot up on my list. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. I will say the plot is definitely not the most complicated to follow, and it's not that original, but I just absolutely love Paul Rudd, and Evangeline Lilly playing opposite of him just works really, really well. All of the funny parts in that movie are just really funny. Luis is like an awesome character. I just really would love to see more of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought it was a cool character partnership. I just thought it worked well, and I really enjoyed the movie. Alright guys, number 12. This might be controversial, but it is Black Panther. Now don't get me wrong, this movie was fantastic, absolutely amazing. Some of the CGI in the later part of the movie was a little bit off-putting, but the rest of the movie was just fantastic. The set pieces, the costumes, it was all magnificent. But here I think the title character fell a little bit short. I feel like it was more Eric Killmonger's movie than T'Challa's. I felt like T'Challa got more of an arc in Civil War than he did in Black Panther. And really, just for that reason, it's a little bit lower on my list. Otherwise, it would be, you know, in my top 10, but I have it at number 12. Number 11, it is still in theaters if you still want to go see it, Captain Marvel. Now, everybody knows I'm an absolute nut about Miss Brie Larson, okay? I love her so much, and anything she touches is gold. I understand people's gripes with the movie, but I think people are just haters because they're like anti-feminist or something, and it's a really weird kind of situation that's going on. But I really like the movie. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's a cool origin story. It's she's cocky in it. I kind of get an Iron Man 1 feel from it, but not really because it is a woman in the lead role. I just really liked it. You know, it's a little bit short of my top 10, but I really liked Brie Larson and what she brought to the character, and introducing us a bit more to the early side of the galactic part of the MCU. It was really cool, and I think it achieved what it was setting out to achieve. All right, suck a fish, we're breaking into the top 10. I know, stick with me, we're almost there. But number 10, Iron Man 3. Now I know people really don't like the Mandarin twist in this, but I was really never a reader of the Iron Man comics. He's more of just a movie character for me, but I really thought it worked. I like how Tony Stark is away from his suit a lot of the movie. He has to use his wit and has to, you know, think of different ways as opposed to just firing his arc reactors at everybody. Aldrich Killian was a little bit weird for him to ultimately be the Mandarin. I thought just not giving the Mandarin a face would have been even better, but I don't think the twist diminished from the movie at all. I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny, and you'll notice a lot of these movies that are in my top, I really think that I like them because they're funny. And Iron Man 3 was funny, so it's in my top 10. Alright, number 9, the first Ant-Man. Now I know this isn't a very high stakes movie, it doesn't really involve anybody else but Ant-Man, but it is very, very fun. Again, what Paul Rudd brings to the character is just fantastic. Paul Rudd is just really funny in anything he does. He's super, super charming, and goddamn, he doesn't age. He literally looks the same exact way as he did when he was like in Halloween like 5 in like 1999, like what? But anyways, I thought they succeeded in bringing such an obscure character like Ant-Man, like a guy who shrinks, like what? They brought him really successfully to the screen, to the big screen. I thought all of the fight scenes were pretty cool, and you know, the way he utilizes his powers, I think it's unique in a movie, and I think it's definitely unique in a superhero movie. So I think it's just awesome. It's in my top 10. All right, now we're on to number 8, and this one has fallen a little bit farther down my list. It used to be in my top 3, but just upon rewatch, I think just a couple more go ahead of it, but that is the original Iron Man. Now this, of course, is the movie that started the whole MCU, and I do give it credit for that. I love the movie with all my heart, but upon rewatching it, I just really think that the villain fell short. Obadiah Stane was just kind of rushed. I think him as Obadiah Stane was fantastic, but him as like the Monger or whatever it is when he's the big Iron Man, like it just was rushed, and just really for that reason, it's the only reason that I have it a little bit farther down my list. Everything else, you know, Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, he is Iron Man, and he's created, you know, this character to be a household name. So I really do think it's an amazing movie, but it's just fallen a little bit farther down because of that little Ironmonger thing or whatever at the end. It was just rushed. All right, number 7, one that has also fallen down my list the more and more I rewatch these movies, and that's the original Avengers. Now, of course, this was a first of its kind type of movie to bring all these characters from different solo franchises and bring them into one. It was a major success, and it is still one of the best superhero movies of all time. But I think Whedon plays a bit too much into these little tiny characteristics that each character has, and he like really pumps them up. Like Captain America's just really dumb through the whole movie for no reason, and like Iron Man's a total asshole, which I guess he's an asshole, but he doesn't have to be a total asshole. Thor is speaking in Shakespeare lines, which again doesn't work for Thor. It's like bring him to the modern world. We don't need to have him speaking like fucking Shakespeare. Just for those reasons, it kind of fell a little bit short. The action sequence at the end, you know, fighting the Chitauri and fighting Loki, absolutely amazing. Some of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in my life. I remember seeing it first time in the theater, and I was like, ah! It was amazing. So, you know, it's still a fantastic movie, but you know, I have it at number 7. It's definitely not in the top 3. Number 6, we have one of the newcomers coming to the bunch, and that's Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, I will say Spider-Man's probably one of my favorite superheroes of all time. He's definitely my favorite comic superhero. I absolutely adore him. And I really think Spider-Man: Homecoming just nailed Peter Parker as a character. Tom Holland nails it. Bringing his story to the modern world with him being, you know, a high schooler now is just fantastic. I really think that it really flows well with the story of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a timeless character, and I think they're really succeeding with the way they're utilizing him in these movies, and I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do after Homecoming and with Far From Home. I think they're really just going to cash in on this being one of the best Spider-Man. Yeah, I said it. He's the best Spider-Man. All right, guys, we're almost there. We're breaking into the top mother flounder 5. Top 5, top 5, top 5, top 5. But anyways, we're here. Number 5, Captain America Civil War. Now, this one has grown on me a lot. Holy cow, I love this movie. I just really think it succeeded, you know, bringing together the Winter Soldier and Cap's relationship, the Sokovia Accords, you know, repercussions from Age of Ultron, and then having the conflict ultimately come together between just Iron Man and Captain America and Winter Soldier. It was just very emotional. I love the movie, and the fight scenes are just, holy crap, amazing. Bucky, Cap, and Iron Man fighting at the end is like just total mind-blowing, like nerdgasm all day. I absolutely love Civil War. It has definitely climbed my list, and that's why I have it at number 5. And the winner for most improved character goes to our number 4 pick, Thor Ragnarok. Now, this totally reinvented Thor as a character, him being so stoic and just droll in the past movies, and making him super, super funny, and really letting Chris Hemsworth be himself in this movie. Holy crap, it succeeded, it made you a lot of money, it worked. When Ragnarok was first announced, I thought it was going to be super droll, like the past Thor movies. I thought it was just going to be full of death, which I guess it kind of was full of death, but it was like funny death. I just think the way that they made it a comedy really, really worked. It was, you know, obviously one of the most successful Marvel movies of all time, and really the main reason I have it so high up is because it's one of the first movies to successfully use the Immigrant Song. Oh my god. When Thor is jumping down to all the dead Asgardians and it's like, it looks like a Renaissance painting. Oh. That is one of the best shots in the MCU. I love that movie. Please give me more Chris Hemsworth as funny Thor. I know it might not happen, but please, that would be so cool. And the time has finally come for the top 3, motherfuckers. Let's start it off right with Avengers Infinity War, number 3. The culmination of 10 years of storytelling and just bringing it together in such a successful way was so pleasing. The build-up to Thanos being the best villain in the MCU, and they actually delivered on it. He won. How many times has the villain won in any MCU movie? None, except for this one. And they really made this Thanos' movie, and oh my god, they succeeded. Thanos is just amazing. I think Josh Brolin's performance is fantastic. The way they successfully brought all of the Infinity Stones into one movie. Within 2.5 hours, they brought them into one movie, and they performed the snap, and it didn't feel rushed. It felt like it flowed fantastically. The Russo brothers are just on top of it with juggling all these different storylines and different characters. They just succeed every time. Just having the villain win makes it so much better and so amazing. That never happens in any movies, and the way they left it on a cliffhanger too, like, come on baby, you're gonna make so much money in a couple weeks. Avengers Infinity War, number 3. The choice for number 2 has shot up my list quite a bit. I just rewatched it and I remember how much I actually love the movie. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Just such a fun movie, such a different movie, and bringing such obscure characters and making them flow nicely and fit together and feel not weird. All of that just made it such a fun movie and such an amazing time at the movie theater. I really enjoyed it. I went and saw it 5 times in the theaters, and I really think the scene that did it for me was the opening scene where Star-Lord is on Morag looking for the orb, and it's all droll and like dark, and then he straps on his Walkman and it goes bing ding ding bing ding ding bing 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 ding 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 bang 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 bam 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 bam. Hey, that was so awesome when the music hit and then the big Guardians logo came up on the screen. Like, I was like, oh, this is going to be a different movie. This is awesome. Let's go. And they sold me. You know, I absolutely love the Guardians. They definitely have the best ride at Disneyland. Holy cow, if you haven't been there, go ride it now. It's amazing. And we are there. We have reached the mountaintop, the number 1 spot. I know it's high on a lot of people's lists, but it is definitely my number 1 from the first time I saw it. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Now, when Guardians set the tone that it was going to be a different galactic and funny movie, Winter Soldier said it that Captain America was going to be a badass motherfucker from here on out. The scene that does it, oh my god, when he's on the boat and he just kicks motherfuckers off of it. Boosh! Just literally kicking people, throwing his shield. That opening scene was so badass just just following Cap as he's sprinting on a freaking boat, just taking people out, dude. And then he fights George St. Pierre as Batroc the Leaper. Holy shit, that was freaking tight. And just the hand-to-hand combat in this movie was freaking amazing. The action scenes are top notch. There's definitely some special effects, but a lot of the fighting scenes are very practical. The first fight between Bucky and Cap when they're in the street and they're doing the knife and all of this shit and they're going hard, like, that's definitely one of the best action scenes in any movie I've ever seen in my life. And the through line of friendship in that movie just tugs at my heartstrings. Not only the friendship between Bucky and Cap, but Falcon and Cap, Black Widow and Cap. He just has these amazing relationships in this movie. And when they do the flashback and they say, "I'm with you till the end of the line," I tear up. I'm tearing up thinking about it right now. But this movie just hits on every level for me. It has some comedy thanks to Sam Jackson. It has some of the best action I've ever seen in any movie, period. Chris Evans is a fucking badass as Captain America, and it makes me feel emotions that I didn't know I could feel, and it gets me pumped, dude. When I watch this movie, I get pumped up, okay? Captain America Winter Soldier, it is the top MCU film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. But holy cow, guys, we made it. That is the end of our Marvel countdown, the Marvel ranking, the MCU films, the first 21. I say the first 21 because there's probably going to be at least 20 more. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my ranking at all? Do you disagree? I really want to know in the comments. Please let me know, what is your #1 film? What is your least favorite film? Please tell me. We are just 2 weeks away from Endgame, guys. All of these movies are building up to this one, and I'm just so excited. I'm so happy to be a Marvel fan. I'm just so happy that these movies are being made and that I'm alive when these movies are being made. I fucking love them! But thanks for coming by, guys. Thanks for checking out this videos. Thanks for sticking with me. As always, check me out on Instagram, @GarzaNate, or search the hashtag TalkingTommyrot. I appreciate every single one of you. I love you, and I will see you in the coming videos and coming podcasts. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.